Listen in for some positivity and good times. The views and opinions of our guests may not necessarily reflect those of the host or the Vibes Broadcast Network. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. And I wanted to bring a little bit of positivity to your life today. Wanted to talk about addiction. And the reason why is I have someone near and dear to me that is going through an addiction right now, and they do not realize that they have a problem. Now, when you say addiction, the first thing that pops into people's heads is alcohol, drugs. It could also be tobacco. For some folks, it's things like porn and there's just a numerous amount of things that are addictive. The thing is, it's hard to let go of because we tend to make it as if it defines us, that we're only whole when we are drinking or are doing drugs and all these different things. Anything that is an addiction can be very detrimental, not only to you, but to those around you. Now you say, oh, well, if I'm drinking or if I'm doing drugs, it's just harming me. But as far as someone like me who went through these things, yeah, I was doing a lot of damage to my health. In fact, it ended up leading to me having a heart attack. But it affected my relationship with my family. I'd say especially with my children and, of course, my first wife. It took away my time with them. It made me into an a-hole. And the problem with addiction, and as I said before, it's almost like it defines who you are. Like I couldn't imagine not going through a weekend without getting drunk or high. I couldn't barbecue or watch a football game without a beer in my hand or whiskey or something like that. But until we realize that it's a problem, until we decide that it's time, it doesn't matter what anybody says to you. You have to do this in your time. Unfortunately, for most people, they have to hit rock bottom. Something tragic has to happen in their life. I mean, for me, it was the heart attack. And then when I got my divorce from my first wife, and it came time to get custody of the children, there was, I don't want to get into details, but there was something underlying that was detrimental to my first wife's case. So I ended up getting custody of my kids, and I had to grow up. I had to be there for my children. Things were so bad. My daughter, she wanted to live with my mother. She didn't want to be with either one of us, not my wife or me. It was so bad she wanted to stay with my mother. That should have been an eye opener to me. Having my boys, and I ended up getting really drunk and was popping some pills, and I don't remember what happened that night, but I ended up getting into a fight with one of my kids. And that, I think, in itself ended up being the catalyst to make me want to change. It shouldn't have gotten that far. I could have totally destroyed my relationship with my kids. They didn't want to be around me. My youngest son, he told me, he says, "Dad, I love you. I just don't like you." That's very not only does it hurt, but that's an eye opener. So you don't have to let things go that far. These things don't have to be a part of your life. Don't wait until things hit rock bottom. If there's something you're doing in your life that is hurting you and hurting your family, it's time to change. Now you could say, "Oh, well, I'm just addicted to tobacco." Okay. Granted, things like cancer popped into mind, and it doesn't happen to everyone, but for a lot of people, smoking, chewing tobacco, they do cause cancer. And you're like, well, that's just hurting me. No, just think of what your family has to go through if they see you having to go through cancer treatments. Let's say they have to put one of those things in your trachea to help you to breathe, what have you. You think your family wants to see you that way? It does affect them. What if they have to watch you lay in a bed dying? All the different health problems you can have. I mean, heart problems. You die at a young age, that does affect your family. Don't wait. If somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, you're you're having a problem with this addiction," don't don't ignore them. Don't push them away. Take a long look at yourself. Literally, go to a mirror and look at yourself. Look at yourself in the eyes. Say what it is that you're addicted to you. I mean, that you're addicted to. Say it out loud. You should feel some sort of shame, some kind of remorse. Get help. For me, I have a very addictive personality. It's something that's ran through my family, especially with the alcohol. Doesn't have to be a part of your life. I have traded one addiction for another. I went from all the drinking and the drugs to, I mean, I have an addiction to tobacco. I do it way too often. Some people, they go from that to maybe overeating, something else. I mean, we have to get a hold of these things. Don't trade one for another. If it's something that's going to help you, I don't know, maybe it's candy or chewing gum. Okay. Okay. Not really a bad addiction, but let's say for the candy, I did start eating a lot more candy and stuff. What ended up happening at diabetes? We have to get ahead of this stuff. We have to decide what's the problem here. If it is something that is affecting you, affecting those around you, you need to get a grip on it. I try to bring people on that have inspiring stories to tell, and they've gone through difficulties, and they may have some advice that can help you. So that's the whole point of the show, is to bring people that can inspire you and motivate you. If that doesn't work, I promise you, you get on the computer and you can Google search any of these things. You can find somewhere there's a support group, there's a doctor that you can go to. And a lot of this stuff, it's not going to be easy. I mean, withdrawals from alcohol and drugs, that can be really rough on you. You know, I know I was addicted to eating. I'd eat nothing but junk. I mean, I could sit there and eat a family-sized bag of chips, a whole bag of M&Ms, all these things, and I gained so much weight and my health was going downhill. And there's a lot of things that I may never get over. Why? Because I let it get out of hand. Yeah, I had a friend of mine who he started out just watching a little bit of porn, and before you knew it, it got to be an addiction. It affected his marriage. He couldn't go a day without watching it. It can lead to some pretty damaging things. Guy, you could think of 100 million things that you could get addicted to. Even social media, it's an addiction for people. It will alter your mood. I mean, a like can give you a dopamine hit. And so you want that. You'll do anything to get those likes and comments and things. And then there's other stuff that it has nothing good for you, nothing. And it could cause you anger. And I mean, I admit there was things that I would look at on social media that would get me all pissed off, and I would be in a mood that it affected my relationships around me. Just saying that you have to know that you have a problem, decide that you want to change, get help. Some folks can go cold turkey, others can't. If you have something that you'd like to talk about and you don't mind giving your story out to other people, please email me. I'd love to have you on the show. Let's talk about it. Maybe we can help someone. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. Please take care of yourself. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network